Hey everyone, in this video I wanted to share with you my latest painting made in Procreate titled Lost at Sea. This is the second in a series of paintings based on Old World Caribbean culture. This piece in particular was inspired by the original Lost at Sea. Check out my Instagram to see that and more. I want to say a quick thank you to all my new subscribers, and if you're new here, thanks for checking out my video. Why not like, comment and subscribe here too, and come back to see more of my 2D and 3D artwork. The basic inspiration was the untold stories of those who never made it to the New World during the slave trade. I decided to use sea creatures as they would appear on old maps to represent larger powers beyond anything they had ever known, overtaking them. I'm inspired by surreal and lowbrow art to a degree, but mainly old world paintings dating back to the 1700s from the Caribbean. Back in 2020, I bought some Max Pack brushes for Procreate, and the pack had a lot of really nice brushes. But many of them did not really fit the way I paint, so I ended up kind of fighting them to fit my style. So I ended up giving up and going back to some basic brushes that I was used to in Procreate. Then I tried again and I found the pastel brushes, and they were perfect for the way I work. So the result was that I hardly ever use even smudge brushes because those brushes allowed me to paint almost at the speed of thought. Looking back, I think it made sense that these brushes were a good fit because traditionally I worked in dry media. For examples of that, you can check out my charcoal video here on my channel. So with my new favorite brushes, I could just now focus on other skills that I've been practicing, such as my color theory, landscape painting, and so on. I've been really working on creating more depth, especially in landscape, and you can see it on demo here. And because I'm just using maybe just two brushes, it allowed me to just quickly create any texture I needed, and it was bringing my work to life in a new way for me. I really enjoyed painting this giant squid. It's a cross between a colossal squid and a giant squid. I wanted to add more elements to the body to make it a little bit more surreal, but I decided to scale back so that it would more fit the original squids that I took it from. What I like about painting this particular subject is its size. It allowed me to represent distance, getting those different atmospheric effects, as well as different forms of texture, the wet and also the other textures that really help to bring it to life. It was really fun putting this one together, and I hope to paint more subjects like this that allow me to exercise these different skills. painting the ocean and the ripples on the water surface was a bit of a challenge for me, but I enjoyed it. I really wanted to get it right, and so I looked up a lot of references, but also I live about 5 minutes away from the beach currently, so I visit there fairly often, and I really observe the water and try to mimic that in the painting, certain aspects of it. I wanted the tentacles to really feel like they're coming up out of the water, that there's something you can stick your hand into and really believe that it is water, because sometimes it's easy in some cases to just illustrate the surface, and in certain lighting conditions, of course, that's fine, that's how it appears. But just in this case, I really wanted you to feel like it is glassy and that you can put your hands into it. So it was fun. It turned out pretty well in my opinion, but I know there's a lot more I can do to improve, and maybe in the future I'll do some more. Many of my recent works feature subjects with dark skin. It presents a unique challenge for me, and I'm continually working to improve. I use a ton of references every time I'm going to paint my subjects. So it's really interesting to see where I go from here, and I really want to be able to master this. This painting allowed me to do a bit of that, helping me pay attention to warm and cool, and the way how dark skin reacts to light, slightly in a different way from a lighter skin. There are certain general rules that remain the same, of course, nonetheless, but with a darker tone, darker flesh tones, there's a slight difference in approach in how you choose your colors, of course. And so far, it's turning out pretty good, and I hope to keep on improving. This painting was enjoyable to create, and yet it was quite labor intensive to get all these details. But I really loved how it came together, and I really appreciated that I should just take it one step at a time, focus on the various elements one piece at a time, and it will all come together. Sometimes it's overwhelming for artists to have a grand plan for their artwork, and when the time comes to execute it, it is very difficult or overwhelming, and then it ends up in the corner of the room, not being worked on. So we want to just come to work, take our time, and eventually we'll get there. Another skill that I picked up in 2020 was sculpting in 3D, mainly with Nomad Sculpt and Blender. I have a lot of experience in the past with sculpting, but I didn't really pursue it that much. But with these new programs, it has been amazing. And of course, you can also see examples of that here on my channel. But something that was surprising is that it really informed my 2D artwork, and I've seen ways in which that it allowed me to think more clearly when I'm drawing certain things. It allowed me to think of the basic shapes and those sorts of things as I create figures and things of that nature. So I hope to share with you in the future how the 3D and 2D work together for me, hopefully in an understandable way. One temptation that I had to overcome, and I know certain artists also have that challenge, is to overmodel. It's the temptation to put every single detail in. If that's what you're going for, the hyperrealism, that's fine. But in paintings, oftentimes, maybe just 1 or 2 strokes is enough. Maybe that's where the term master stroke came from, I'm not sure. But when I got to see some works of the masters from the past in some recent years, I realized, looking at them up close and personal, how just the right brushstroke can describe a whole thing without having to put too much details. So I'm trying to apply that to my work as well, and so far I'm learning to hold back, because if I give in to trying to put every detail, it can be overwhelming, and sometimes you may feel to give up and you start to lose the joy in your painting. So just keep that in mind when you're making your work, and you'll have more fun. Something I mentioned a number of times in previous videos is the use of references, and I love the program PureRef. It helps me to have everything I need in one place, all the images, so that I can just glance at it quickly and get the information I need to paint. I love Pinterest, but it can be a challenge to have multiple windows open and keep navigating to different boards and stuff like that. But having PureRef is a big leg up. I've been using it for a few years now, and if you haven't used it yet, I highly recommend it. I have no connection to them, but it was interesting to use. I didn't want to use it at first, I didn't think I needed it, but when I tried it anyway, I discovered how useful it really was, and you may find it very useful as well. So there it is, Lost at Sea 2. If you're interested in owning one of my pieces or more, follow me on Instagram, and there you'll get the announcements and updates when it's available. Thanks again for checking out my video. See you in the next one.